Welcome to the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast, presented by 13 Fishing Canada. Make your own luck. We're here to scratch that angling itch and talk everything fishing. Join us as we sit down with special guests from across the industry. Now, here's your hosts, Brandon Cater and Logan Lewis.
Welcome back to another episode of the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast. My name is Brandon, and I'm here with my buddy Logan. If you've never been here before, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Definitely go check out some past episodes. We have some good ones with some great guests. We do have some awesome guests lined up in the future, as well as a great guest on this episode. So how's it going, Logan?
I'm doing great. Very excited to, I guess I'll just say we had Layne Maier on the podcast again from Mountain Man Outdoors. Just kind of wanted to do like a little spring walleye episode here. Just kind of sticking with the times. Season opener for Saskatchewan here is coming up soon. I think this episode should be coming out not too long after that. So some really good information from him, just like a wealth of knowledge there. So I think you guys will really enjoy this. And for the people that don't fish as much, we kind of made sure to explain some things a little bit more so that they make sense to you, but definitely a lot of information to unpack in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Layne really enjoyed coming on. He was, I think, our third guest when we started the podcast. He enjoyed that episode, and he wanted to come on again. So we said, yeah, absolutely. Let's do a spring walleye episode. Let's talk, location. Let's talk setups, all kinds of different tactics and details on how to locate walleye in the spring. A little bit about himself and his business again, and his new boat setup, what he's got going on for rigging there. Lots of details on a bunch of different topics. It's a great episode. I think a lot of you are going to enjoy. Obviously, if you don't know who Layne is a business owner. He's from Regina. He lives out on Last Mountain Lake and actually owns Mountain Man Outdoors, which is a guiding service on our local lake not too far away from Regina, Saskatchewan here. It's a well-known body of water for massive walleye, and Layne is somewhat of a specialist on the topic, so he had some great insight to share with everybody, and definitely a great one to listen to. So, of course, we need to give a quick shout out to our show sponsors. We're super thankful and lucky to have Sask Wildlife Federation hop on board with the podcast. If you aren't familiar with SWF, they're a nonprofit organization right here in Saskatchewan. They have a lot to do with our fisheries stocking, fisheries enhancement, and pretty much everything wildlife in our province. If you don't have a membership, definitely go check it out. There's 125 branches across the province. I think the memberships range from $20 to $30 depending on the branch, and there's a ton of perks that come along with it. It helps out the province, the wildlife, our resources, and definitely something to check out. So check them out online. You can find them on social media, their website. It's the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation.
Yeah, for sure. And we'd also like to give a shout out to Blackfish Gear for coming on. You can't choose the weather. We'll hopefully have a code soon that you can use on there. Some great rain gear and sun gear company out of the States there. So definitely some quality stuff. We just got some ourselves, and definitely excited to actually get out there in the rain especially and kind of fool around with this stuff and try it out.
Yeah, I was just talking to a gentleman from around the area here today, and I mentioned Blackfish to him. He had never heard of it, and I mean it's I don't think there's a retailer in Canada yet. They're still fairly new. They're owned by Clam Outdoors, and they have a lot of great products. I was showing him my soft shell Gale. So it's a pullover soft shell jacket, which is water and wind resistant, and it's got like a fleece inlining. So it's like it's a beautiful, comfortable soft shell jacket, but it's a pullover bunny hug style, which is, I mean, to me, it's the comfiest jacket I've ever owned. So the benefit of it being waterproof, windproof, and having that fleece liner, it's going to be a great, 3-season, maybe 4-season jacket. I'll probably throw it under my bibs in the winter. So definitely go check out blackfishgear.com. They have lots of great outdoor apparel.
Yeah, and just I guess a quick word here from Lucky Bastard Distilleries. and then we'll get right into the interview.
Get ready to stand on guard for the
Prohibition is over, Saskatchewan. Ask Lucky Bastard today how you can make Canada's ultimate Caesar, true north and strong. Featuring Lucky Bastard's premium dill pickle vodka, LB's famous bacon rimmer, and bacon bitters. It's not a Caesar if it's not Lucky Bastard. Order online or stop by 814 47th Street East. And tonight, why not mix your Caesar with some Lucky Bastard?
So, we got here Layne Maier again, first reoccurring guest on the podcast. Just thought it would be great to have him on for kind of a spring walleye episode here. We're getting close. This episode should be releasing right around that time. So thank you for joining us again.
Thanks for having me, guys. Nice to see you all again.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. It's a couple episodes in between, but no, it's always a good time talking with you. So we're excited to have you on again.
Right on. Podcast looking great. You guys are getting some awesome guests on for sure. Definitely making some buzz. So congratulations. Good job, boys.
Thank you.
It's been fun, that's for sure. But yeah, definitely, obviously, opening day here in southern Saskatchewan is quickly approaching. Speaking of buzz, there's lots of buzz around that. I know there's a lot of things going on as far as fishing tournaments, whether or not those are going to be going on due to COVID. Obviously, you're on the Saskatchewan Walleye Trail, so you probably have some intel on that. I'm sure you got lots going on with Mountain Man, maybe some new boat rigging, etc. I thought maybe we can touch on just a few things leading up to the spring opening day. I think it's just, 9 days away?
8 or 9, something like that. It's just getting close now. It won't be long.
Yeah, that's some quick math there.
Yeah, so, but yeah, anybody that's following you, Layne, Mountain Man Outdoors on Instagram, Facebook, that type of thing, you've been posting a little bit about some new electronics, stuff like that. Maybe let us know what you got going on with Mountain Man.
What do we got going on with Mountain Man? Well, it could be another tough year. Things are weird right now, right? COVID. When I initially formed Mountain Man, obviously geared up more towards taking American clients. And you know what? I was a little bit snobby to that regard at the beginning. And you know what? I've changed my opinion on that a little bit. You know what? My main thing is here, I'd like to teach and I'd like to educate. So, I mean, you know what? If I got local guys that actually want to come out, want to learn, I'm willing to take them. So, no, I've definitely opened up a little bit more. Last year was really tough for me. I was so busy. I feel bad. Some guys, I probably could have done a little bit more last year, but it was very, very tough. And, with the pandemic, it was crazy. So this year we are gearing up. Bookings are coming in. Not looking like I'm going to have very many free weekends this year, but I'm okay with that. It's a new challenge. And no, Mountain Man is hot out the gate. Fabricating around the clock. I've got a full-time welder. We might be moving into a bigger facility. I could definitely see more fabrication stuff coming in the future. Some cool products coming in the future. You're going to get to see some really nice stuff this year. Some new docks, new ice shacks, a new line of sonar mounts. Oh, what else? I got some other stuff I can't even spill the beans on yet. So fabrication is always number one in my heart. Don't get me wrong. I love fishing, being a fishing guide too. But just being in the industry, making stuff, I love that. That's all me. So, yeah, no, the boys are hard at work. The guys are excited to guide. Boats are getting geared up. I'm getting ready for one last season with my boat. I am switching over to a Lund next year. Moose Jaw RV is picking me up. Not going to spill all the beans on that one today, maybe on a further episode. But it's in the works, and my boat will be coming up for sale for somebody if they're looking this year. I'm actually rigging it.
What do you got for a boat?
I have a 2017 Alumacraft Competitor 205 with a 250 Yamaha. Great boat.
Nice.
I have nothing bad to say about the boat. I have nothing bad to say about Alumacraft. My dealer is no longer working, so you know what? I had an opportunity to go with somebody else, and I'm going to give that a try. So, yeah, no, everything's looking good. I got somebody walking behind me. Don't mind them. One of the boys hard at work. Anyways. Bookings are coming in and we're excited. I got the boat getting rigged next week at Pokey's. All new Gen 4 Humminbird stuff because obviously the Mega Live's coming out. when I rigged my boat, it was all Gen 2. So I stripped all that. I pulled the trolling motor. I sold everything. Basically put new everything on this year. So we got a new Altera going on, new Vantage going on. And, you know, I had a little change of plans. I kind of had big plans to run 310s this year. And you know what? Things are very hard to get, extremely hard to get. I don't know if you guys are following with what's going on out there, but processing chips, microchips, shipping, everything is delayed. Like everything is backed up, and fishing is just blowing up. Like it's crazy. I don't think guys have ever seen demand like this. And
any recreational sport, it's just
it's
blowing
just
up.
crazy. Yeah, no, it's wild. So they're hooking me up though. So I had a little change of plans, and I'm going from the 10s. I actually bumped her up to a Helix 15. And we're gonna try and manage to get that on the dash somehow, and then I'll have a 10 and a 7 on there as well, and hopefully the Mega Live transducer comes out soon. I heard from a little birdie today; they're getting a little closer, so it sounds like you're gonna actually have some news on that in the next 2 weeks here, an actual release date,
Nice.
Not too far away. So
So do you have that pre-ordered?
I have.
Or can you pre-order it yet?
You betcha.
Yeah, I think I saw Pokey's post about pre-ordering. But yeah, like it was supposed to, there was no hard date set. But yeah, I think they were saying like springtime, right? But I don't know. That's obviously been pushed back or I haven't really heard.
When we originally started talking to them last year, we were supposed to have one this winter. Like we were supposed to have one up to do some testing for ice fishing. Pokies, believe it or not, Pokies is a way bigger player in the North American industry than people would think. They move a ton of hummingbird product. As far as Mega Live purchases go, they're like, I want to say they're definitely in the top 5 for amounts of sonars that, like for biggest buyers.
Canada wide.
North America wide.
Oh, wow.
No I'm not dropping numbers, but it's actually mind blowing. People in Saskatchewan love their fishing, and not only that, but with them doing their online platform now, they sell a ton of product. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, and like a lot of things nowadays are moving to the e-commerce or the online purchasing, and I've definitely noticed that the boys at Pokies have definitely been taking advantage of that, and shipping throughout Canada as they need to, and I mean that's a great way to go about business. I mean, obviously you're gonna have local support, and here in Saskatchewan, that's a big thing, obviously, supporting local. But, I mean, if they can ship out packages to Ontario, Quebec, and stuff like that, why not?
Hey, that's who's buying right now. I don't think they got the support that we do here, I think we're very privileged to have some of the shops that we've had here over the years. Like, we had Northern Raw and Reel. We have some really great local vendors, Fishing Hole, Pokies, and people, I think, take small business for granted. And then until they're gone, right? Mm-hmm. Suddenly they're not. You don't realize how much you miss them till they're gone. Like Wholesale Sports, Northern Raw and Reel, like those are assets to the Regina area. And you know what?
Exactly.
People don't support them enough, and look what happens. But Pokies is here to stay. I have obviously a very
thriving. They're thriving.
Thriving. That would be a great word for it. I'm not spilling the beans, but they got some super exciting news coming out right away. I think you can look forward to seeing some big things coming from them.
Awesome. Yeah, we look forward to that for sure. I think you got that 15 beside you, don't you? Let's take a look at that.
Oh boy. I don't know if I got enough
That thing's
screen.
Bigger than my laptop, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I'm working on a new line, sonar mounts, so we are working on that right now tonight actually. I'm trying to figure out.
And are you planning on? Are you guys fabricating that yourself, or like ram mounts, or
everything in it? It's like a ram style mount, but mine are going to be solid aluminum, like more similar to a balls out would be.
Gotcha.
That would be probably more better comparison. I'm doing mine all aluminum, as like all my products. Obviously, it's weird. I know I run a plastic shop, but I love building stuff out of aluminum.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet either, but I will one day.
So here's a question for you. Okay, that's a 15-inch Helix G4.
Yep.
So how come you chose to go Helix over Solix?
Great question. Few reasons, really. I guess number one, price point. You know,
Of
like
course, yeah.
helixes aren't cheap. As you can imagine, Solixes are really not cheap. Um, Solixes are touchscreen. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, don't get me. I'm definitely a guy that could have some greasy minnow fingers. I'm out there fishing in the
Yeah.
rain. Touchscreens aren't always my cup of tea. That being said, if Humminbird wanted to send me some Solixes, I'll toss them on. I'll find a home for them. Don't worry. But yeah, no, honestly, the Helix, I've been running them since Gen 1. Huge fan. People thought I was crazy. Like when I was taught, the guys that taught me were all diehard Lowrance. And Lowrance makes a great sonar, and people thought I was crazy. I ripped a couple HDS Gen 2s off to put new Helixes on. And they laughed at me. And I'm not gonna lie, the difference it made in my fishing, that's what hooked me. That first season, getting my Gen 1 Helix 12 and 9 out with the side imaging, like game changer. Absolute game changer.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? I've stuck with Humminbird since, and I ain't looking back. I truthfully think the Helix is the best bang for your buck fish finder on the market, hands down, bar none. It's easy to use. Anyone can use it. Simple to rig. It just works. It works very well.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
I think that's one of the biggest things. You see the odd Lowrance around here and whatnot, but I think they seem to be a lot bigger in the States, eh?
For sure. With the older crowd too, Lowrance does make a very high quality product, but it's expensive. Not only is it expensive, it's just not many dealers here for it. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, you see like predominantly Humminbird, like for whether it's ice fishing, summer fishing, whatnot. It seems like that's mostly what you see. You're starting to see Garmin a little bit more, but yeah, it's definitely Humminbird seems to be king, at least around here.
Yeah, no, for sure. Humminbird is definitely taken over for sure. I don't know, and for a reason.
I wasn't sure if there was like a specific software difference between the Solix and the Helix. I haven't really looked into the Solix too much, so
Not
I just
really.
I wasn't sure why you chose Helix over Solix, but I mean, budget obviously plays a massive factor.
Budget number one for sure, and just compatibility and ease of use for sure. I mean, Solixes you have to run with Solixes. They don't network. That's only one downfall about Humminbird is they don't cross networks so well. So going back and forth between different units, it doesn't work so well. So you can't really run. And don't put me on record saying this because I could be wrong. But Solixes and Helixes don't jive together so well. So it's basically you got to kind of run one of everything. So I got 3-4 sonars going on my boat. I don't have money for 3 Solixes. I wish I did. I mean, if I had the money, I'd be rocking, 18 or 19 inch Apex or whatever they got out now. Like you can't keep up. There's no point in even trying.
Oh man, you can't keep up with technology. It's just crazy that not just in the fishing industry, but I mean, it's just moving so fast. It's just nuts.
Yeah. Oh man, you know what? I'm a little bit of a nerd, so like I love this. Like that's always been a huge part of it for me. I grew up watching, the old fish locators, and this is for a technology junkie. This has been just great.
Yeah, that's one thing that kind of sucked. I went and bought a brand new. It was a Helix 7, the Mega SI GI G3 from Pokies. That would be 2 falls ago now. And was talking to one of the guys there, and he's like, "Well, do you want the G3N?" And I'm like, "Oh, like, what do you need that for?" And I understood it as kind of just to kind of talk with your trolling motor and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'll never have a trolling motor like that I need to do. And me just being younger, not knowing everything. So now I'm like, well, now I got the new Tarova, and I was like, well, that would be nice. And then now I'm wanting a second head unit as well. I'm like, if I would have just spent the extra $100, I could have ended up with the network gig. And so now it's kind of like, I just got the one Helix 7. Do I go and they kind of not necessarily break the bank, but sell that and then go through all the pain of figuring all that out? But yeah, it would be nice if it was like one way.
The old Facebook Marketplace game.
I'm good at that. I like playing that one. You know what? I always tell everyone, just buy what you can afford, and buy the best you can afford. You don't want to do this every year. You got to buy something that you're going to be happy with running for at least a couple of years. And I mean, yeah, unless you got unlimited pocketbook, there's no way you're going to be able to upgrade. They got new stuff every year. Don't try and play keep up. Learn what you got and just use it well.
Yeah, learn how to use it instead of constantly changing, and it'll suit you way better.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, we have quite a bit that we want to get through. We have some fishing questions, some more sonar questions. So let's just kind of hop into everything if that's all right with you, Layne. We're on the sonar topic. So for maybe our listeners and a lot of us that are, we have these units, these super powerful sonars that maybe we all don't know how to utilize them. Come springtime here, what are some crucial aspects that you're looking for on your Helix to locate some walleye?
Hey, sorry boys, you guys actually cut out there. Could you repeat that question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So on keeping with the sonar topic here, since spring is coming up, what are some crucial aspects that you're looking for on your Helix to locate some spring walleye?
This one's simple. Spring walleye, looking for temperature, 100%.
Yeah.
And you know what? You're not going to need a fancy sonar to do that. Obviously, I'm looking for lots of things. I'm looking for structure. So mapping is clutch. Side imaging is clutch. But number one, if you're working with the basics, temperature. If you're cold, they're cold. Try and find warm water. They just spent all winter freezing. They're trying to warm up. So, get into the shallows, get in the weeds, get into the sand, get into that shallow water, and they might be shallower than you would even expect to find them. So try and find the warm water. Lots of times I'll look for rocks, I'll look for docks, I'll look for sand, I'll look for anything that the sun is going to heat up, and I'll check that first. Because, those fish very well might be tucked right in there, just enjoying the warm water. And not only that, the bait's going to go to that as well. So, number one thing I'm looking at is the temperature gauge.
Absolutely. Yeah, it comes springtime. I've found spring walleye, as shallow as 3 feet before. So definitely that shallower water definitely heats up a lot quicker. Would you say that it would go temperature, clarity, depth, or come spring, is clarity a big factor for you? Coming out of ice out and stuff, are you worried about any type of murky waters or anything like that?
Yes and no. Clarity definitely. Clarity, that's kind of a loaded question because it really can vary. There's a time and a place for everything. One thing I will tell you about clarity, especially in the spring, watch your mud lines. Watch for mud lines, 100%. Because spring, you're probably gonna have some either really murky water or really clear water off the start, and then it's gonna murk up when that runoff comes in. Yep. So it's probably gonna get a little crappy if it goes from clear and then gets really ugly and dark and brown. It's probably gonna get slow for a little bit. Does that mean they're gonna stop chewing? Not necessarily. What I can tell you will hold consistent through all that is following your mud lines. I always have good luck working those. It's always a great ambush spot for walleye to get on bait. So, especially if you have clear water and you got murky water coming in, man, I'm pitching jigs right in there. I'm working those murk lines. I'm scanning it with my side imaging to see if anything's in there.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of leads into the next one we had with I guess there's multiple different situations you can find yourself in, but in the spring especially, what kind of presentation are you throwing at them? When you say that you'll pitch up to a dock or something like that, is that just a jig and a leech, or are you casting out a jigging wrap? What's going on there?
Well, it's all going to come down to water temperature. Started tying rods yesterday. The first three things I'm going to try: a jig, definitely a jig, Lindy rig, got to do it, and last but not least, slip bobber. Spring and slip bobbers go hand in hand. That's if you can get on a slip bobber bite. To me, that's super super fun.
Yeah.
But jig is very versatile. You can pitch it, you can work it vertical, you can long line it, you can pop it, you can get it in. I find them so shallow in the spring. Sometimes I'm pitching it right on shore, pitching it under docks, or right on the rocks, and sometimes you're only one or two pops back, and you got a fish on. Lindy rig, super versatile. You're going to be shallow in the springs. Don't hesitate to run some longer line. You might not get them to bite under your boat in 3 or 5 or 6 or 8 feet of water. So I'm running longer line. I'm getting it away for that reason alone. I'm just kind of sweeping over. I'll find my fish, and I don't necessarily worry about holding on them. I'm just sweeping through and just trying to line that up and get it to go near them.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, in that shallower water, you have a lot more opportunity to spook them too, eh? So.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they are spooky, or you do find them pushed up into something, or you find structure they're holding on, bust out the slip bobbers. Especially in a tournament situation, or like a situation where you have a lot of competition or a lot of other boats around. Anchor up so they can't get between you and shore. Get your slip bobbers out there, and you and your buddy sit there and close clobber up. I don't know why more people don't give the slip bobbers a whirl. It's probably the most natural presentation you can run.
Yeah, isn't that the crazy thing with those two? We got like just talking about all the technology we just talked about, and these big boats and stuff like that. And then I'm the same as you, that like me and my buddy Justin got on a pretty good slip bobber bite at Buffalo last spring, and I hadn't really done it too much, and it was one of the most fun ways of fishing that I've done in a while, and it's just going back to the basics pretty well, right? And so we get all this fancy stuff, and yeah, exactly. We get all the fancy stuff, and then we go back to something like slip bobbing, and it works amazing when you can get on that bite. So yeah, definitely something cool to try out if people haven't.
I got all the toys, and yeah, I bet you 10 times a year you'll find me out slip bobbing somewhere, maybe even from shore. It is fun. I do it in front of my house even. It's pretty entertaining. And not only that, that's not just for walleye either. Don't hesitate to do it for other fish. Rainbows, perch, and actually one of my favorite things to do in the spring, slip bob big pike.
Yep.
Sounds crazy. You want to talk a fun day? Go get your winners. Go get your quick straight set up. Go put a smelt under a great big slip bobber, and you tell me that's not a good time.
Yeah, do some dead baits for him in the spring. Crazy. It's just that open water fight as opposed to a tip up.
Yeah, they absolutely go crazy for him in the spring. Nobody does it.
Everyone's worried about the walleye, and they always forget about the pike.
Yeah, the walleye are better.
Now, okay, when you said that your kind of first go-to would definitely kind of be the jig. Now, come springtime, are you pitching a leech, or are you doing live bait, or are you throwing on more like a swim bait jig head and plastics, or how come springtime do you do more plastics up in the shallow?
You know what? I'm gonna play with it more this year. I know my friends listen to this. They give me crap. I have a lot of people a hard time about running plastics and swim baits. They're growing on me. They are growing. I was taught live bait right from the get-go. I love my live bait. Yeah. Is in the spring for me. Like, that's my go-to. This winter, you see me play with some plastics, and I must say I had quite good success with them. So yeah, you could probably see me playing with that a little bit again, trying it this year, especially when Mega Live comes out. I could definitely see me casting some of them Berkeley snap jigs, with a soft plastic tail on them. And yeah, no, it's gonna happen. Might even do a video.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
There's just such a huge market for plastics. Like, it seems like every company is coming up with a new plastic here, and a new plastic, a new design, a new color, a new scent, new texture. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such a massive market for plastics. I think there are a lot of people like that their go-to is a live bait, and plastics are expensive. I get it, but they also have a lot less opportunity to lose that bait. Recycle that plastic and catch 10 fish on it, or
just like going back to John's episode. That's all, like, mainly what they use for, I guess, for when he is jigging. Like, there's no jig in a minnow or anything like that. They're mostly using plastics.
Mm-hmm. There is a time and a place for everything, and don't hesitate to try. Just because nobody else is doing it doesn't mean you can't try. You know, somebody's got to go first. And yeah, there's new stuff in the market every day. I played with a lot of plastics last year, and I caught fish on all of them. Always been a big fan of small plastics for panfish and trout. And like, there's no reason why they can't work for walleye either. Obviously, they do.
Yeah. So with these, I guess like you said about the small ones for the panfish, with these presentations, is it kind of like going big like some of us do in March and whatnot with our baits for kind of the March Madness, or are you going kind of smaller presentation, more realistic kind of thing with your presentations?
I always go for more realistic presentation. I'd always go for realistic over size any day for sure.
Okay.
I
Sweet.
mean, again, there's a time and a place, but yeah, especially in the spring, you're gonna have to finesse them a little more.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess one thing quick, I know with any kind of setup, there's so many different combinations that you can do. But I just wanted to ask when it comes to slip bobbing and rigging, just like real quick, like don't have to be too specific, like kind of what's your setup looking like for those two different approaches?
Honestly, I'm super, super basic compared to most people. You're gonna see a lot of people with jazzed up presentations. I keep it very simple. That's just always been my go-to. Don't hesitate to run some beads or some sequins on your presentation. Um, everyone seems to have their own opinion on that. I've always been a no natural guy. I'm using an aggressive bait or a artificial bait if I can. If they are chewing, I'm using something that's fast and that I can get back in the water and heavy and stay on top of the fish. If I got to finesse them, I'm going as natural as possible.
Yeah. So you're more interested in that reaction bite, like that reaction bite comes spring, a more aggressive bite. Yeah.
When it warms up, yeah. Like if the chew is on, don't hesitate to throw on a jigging wrap or a shiver minnow or something else, because I mean, if they're chewing, and the water tempo is only going to mean so much. But you can't hesitate if you get on a good bite for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and as far as like, yeah, and as far as like a rod setup, what are you using for those two things?
For Lindy rigging and slip bobbing?
Yeah.
Lindy rig, I run my two main rods. I have a 7.6 Legend Elite. That's my baby with a Shimano 2500 on there. That's my go-to. I love that rod. I also have a G Loomis NRX, another beautiful rod, 7.6 medium light. Same thing with a Shimano 2500 on it as well. Not gonna lie, I'm a huge G Loomis guy last year, but nothing touches my St. Croix rigging rod. I've been running the same one for 10 years now, and I actually have two of them. I enjoy it so much. I have a backup. The tip on St. Croix is incredible. I love the full cork handle. I love to be able to, it's just extremely light, extremely sensitive. I can rest it into my arm, and yeah, no, that's predominantly my go-to with my setup. Not gonna lie, I don't get intricate. My slip bobber rod is usually whichever one I'm not using for something else. I got a handful of jigging rods, like 6.5s. A 7-foot would be a great one, and truthfully, you could go medium or medium light. Just watch when you're reeling in. Just obviously, if you're medium light, you got a little bit more of a cushion there to feel them before they feel you. So medium light's not a bad idea. More importantly is line. I'd say it'd be more important to worry about what kind of line you're using. And when it comes to both of those things, I'm running mono all the way. You need some stretch, especially if you got your line way out there. You can use mono to your advantage. That's one thing I think a lot of people don't think about, is actually using the mono to pin the fish for you. On top of having a soft rod, if you got soft line with a lot of it out there, when you set that hook, you're actually tightening up that line. Well, it's got spring in it. So that line is staying loaded up, and that helps keep that fish pinned when he's sitting there shaking on you. And man, that goes a long ways to help keeping fish pinned.
I'll have to do that for my rigging setup then, because I haven't purchased it yet for this year, but just been kind of looking at a lot of different things for it.
Yeah, and you kind of hear a lot of guys getting away and going just from people that I've talking to, going to like a braid setup, no stretch, and then adding a floral leader or, you know what I mean? Like I haven't really. I have mono on a couple of my rods, and I've been contemplating switching out to braid and a floral leader.
There's time and a place. Everyone has personal preference. I'm a mono guy. I always run a floral leader. Maybe not always on a jig. Lots of times I'll just strip line. Like obviously your line's gonna get wrecked. I usually run my jig bare, and then you know what? Every once or twice a day I'll strip 5 feet off, throw in the trash. Once it gets chewed up, I pull it off. Line's cheap. Like I run honestly 6 and 8 pound P line are probably my two go tos. It's cheap. Replace it. Run lots. Have nice fresh line on there. If I'm doing something a little bit heavier, where I'm worried about having, either a swivel for line twist or I want a heavier leader on there, then yeah, I'm running like a 8 or a 10 or a 12 pound fluorocarbon leader on top of a barrel swivel.
Okay.
But also, like, I've never, just for the record, I've never been a huge braid guy. I got into it more the last couple of years, and I'm probably the oddball. I like using it for my ripping baits. A lot of other people, Al Linder would disagree. He says mono for jigging wraps. Not me. I like to use a long rod to keep my fish controlled, and I like to use a heavy braid to be able to give them the gears. I think the main thing when you're using like a ripping bait, like a jigging wrap or a shiver minnow, is to get that fish in as quick as possible. Obviously not if it's small. Like don't give the thing bear trauma, but don't sit there and play it longer than you have to, because the longer that thing sits in the water with a jigging wrap in its mouth, the more opportunities it's got to get off. And that's just that's it. So get it up as quick as possible. Don't piss around. Get that thing in the boat.
Yeah, the number of times I've been spit on jigging wraps, it's so sad when it happens. But I mean, it does. It's not just me, I guess, obviously, but yeah, it happens a lot. Sweet. I guess so. We've gone over a little bit of where we want to look for the fish, and then some of the setups. What else do we got here?
Kind of rolling back to like the sonar and scanning fish. Are you looking for, come springtime? Are you using your side scan to look for pods of fish? Are you kind of picking out individual fish and casting up on them in the shallows as well?
Goes up again.
No worries. So just kind of going back to the sonar topic, say springtime here, you're rolling around, you're looking at your side imaging. Are you looking for schools of fish potted up? Are you looking for individual fish kind of up in the shallows there?
Here's my number one tip for you for sort of side imaging. Yeah, you can for sure, but if you're running around just looking for individual fish, it's maybe not going to be the most productive use of your time with side imaging. The main reason I pull out my side imaging is to find out which depth to run at with my 2D sonar. So say, for instance, the water's warmed up, it's 60 degrees, you're back out in your more usual holes, and you say you're fishing 24, 25 feet of water, and you're running the break line, you're floating with everyone else, and you're not marking fish under the boat.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my SI on, and I'm going to start cruising around at that 24 mark, and I'm going to look left, which is deep. I'm going to look right, shallow, and then I'm going to start seeing, okay, am I marking fish on the right or the left? Are they in shallow or are they deep? And then I'm going to adjust the boat accordingly, and then I'm going to see if I'm getting them under the boat now on my 2-dimensional sonar. The main thing I use SI for is figuring out which depth to run at. And once I do that, yeah, you can fine tune, like use it to find your structure. And 100%, like spring again, like I said, with the, don't hesitate to get in real shallow, run those rocks, those docks, run those. He wrote something for Target Walleye a couple of years ago. Me and my mom pre-fishing for Regina Beach. I hit a 29-inch walleye that I found on side scan. It literally threw the boat in reverse, pitched the jig out, hit it, 29-inch walleye. About an hour later, I told her, we got to go. We got to go back up. They got a noon spot. We get there. We're running along the point. See another one. 2 pair actually on side imaging, but they were way off to the side, so I dropped a waypoint on them. We doubled back. I said, Mom, drop your jig. Mom drops her jig. I look over. She's folded, like right on the her biggest
Wow.
ever.
And those are
works
up.
like
Those were up in shallow, or
shallow, real
like
shallow.
was this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
June, like so, beach tournament. It'd have been June. I bet you mine came out of the water. Hers was probably 8 to 10.
Crazy.
So yeah, never
I-
hesitate to go,
I-
man. So many people fishing deep without even trying shallow anymore. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I do the 20 to 30 foot stuff too, but shallow, they're chewing and like they are fun to catch when they're in.
Yeah, and 100%. Like I mean, a lot of people might not fish as shallow, as they should or as they could come springtime. But I think as soon as June hits, it's almost like a mindset change. Like, oh, okay, it's June, it's summer, I got to go fish deep. But I mean, if there's bait fish sitting up there in the warmer water still, I mean, come June, like, why not check shallows? Like, why not fish those shallow fish? Those fish are probably just hot and heavy. They're just still sitting there in the shallows.
Morning before it's been disturbed, before a bunch of people have driven through there. Always want to try, especially in structure and points. You'll always see me around zigzagging, and you know what? You'll see me do it before I fish anywhere because I'm trying to set up where I feel these fish are feeding right now or where they're gonna be. So I mean, don't worry about what happened yesterday. Try and think about what you're doing next.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that I took from the last episode as well. And Brandon kind of said it, don't be fishing memories, right? Like everyone's kind of like, oh, I know where this good spot that we can go and check out. And it's like, well, you might be able to go there, but there could be nothing there that day. And then you just go and you troll that all day. And you're like, man, today was slow. The fish weren't biting. Well, they just weren't there. Right. So it's kind of, yeah, like you said, it's about driving around and putting yourself in those areas where the fish are once you actually do locate them. So.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a little bit of both because I know I shoot myself in the foot with that sometimes. That's just it drives some of my friends nuts. Some of my friends nuts, and you know what? There's a time and place, and if you feel like you're sit there and wait them out through a point, but just stick to your guns. If you have a game plan, stick to it, and don't worry about what everyone else is doing. If your game, if you're coming in and feeding it X time, wait it out. Wait it out. Put the time in. Don't be chasing everyone else. If you feel like they're not there, keep moving. I mean, you got to feel it played day by day. I mean, if anyone knew what to do, we'd all be catching 30 inches every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there'd be no fish left.
That too.
With the way some people are, yeah. I guess was there any more specific rigging stuff you want to talk about, Brandon?
No, I mean, obviously with rigging, like you definitely prefer like that longer rod, right? Like a 7.6 at like a 7.5 range type there.
Yeah, long rod, light line. I prefer. Okay, so now there's going to be two different types of riggers. There's going to be guys that run basically a solid lead with a solid weight, and there's going to be guys that run a slip weight. All I'm going to say, this is personal preference. I know really good anglers that do both. I prefer the slip weight method. You have to be extremely careful when you are feeding fish. You got to understand what you're doing. You are trying to get them to swallow that hook. If you are not educated in hook removal, if you're not comfortable handling fish, don't do it. Like, there's a good chance these fish are going to swallow that bait deeper than you might be comfortable with retrieving it.
Yep.
That being said, if you're just doing it for fun, run a bigger. Easier to get out. It's it's harder for them to swallow. It's easier for you to get pliers on. It's easier to see. And you always have to have forceps all over. Like, have a couple pairs, have them accessible. Because, main thing is just being quick about it. Have somebody hold the line, get it taut, get your forceps in there. Once you're comfortable with it, you're free to do what you want. But if you're new to the game, I would recommend using a quicker hook set. You're still going to catch tons of fish. If you're just fishing for fun, there's no need to catch these things in the throat. I'm not saying you're going to, and just be mindful of that and see how the fish are feeding. There's going to be days where you don't have to feed them long. There's going to be days where you're going to have to feed them for 10, 15 seconds, and you might still just catch them in the lip. So it's a little trickier for some people. You'll catch more fish weight and it's definitely easier for beginners. But been doing it for a long time. I like to feed them. That's one of the elements I find fun with it. Just be very mindful that there is a better chance of you, hooking a fish deep and you having to do surgery. And I mean, you better know what you're doing, otherwise you are going to be hurting fish.
So I guess with that, what kind of style of hook are you using?
I use small, like circle hooks,
Okay.
just regular circle hooks. Throw a bead on there, throw some sequence on there. Um,
I was just going to ask if you throw any flash on there or not. I know a lot of guys just run natural, right? But then again, like I've been seeing more and more stuff about dazzling stuff up, throwing some beads and etc. onto their live rigging setup. And
Never tried. Never hurts.
yeah,
I honestly I go back and forth all the time. I got a bead kit, I got a sequence kit, I got about 100 million colors of Gamatsus. You never know what they're gonna take.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess we may as well. We've kind of gone heavy on all the technical stuff there, especially for some of the people who might be newer to fishing and whatnot. But
For some people that, I mean, like years prior, like I had no idea live rigging was even a thing. You know what I mean? It was
Same.
just the last couple of years, getting more into it that I've talked to people and learned new techniques and type of stuff. So for some people that might be listening, Layne, that haven't heard of live rigging or aren't really keening in on some of the stuff that we're talking about, what exactly is live rigging? Because, like, I mean, you talking about feeding the fish, right, and stuff like that. Maybe there's a few people out there that aren't really sure what we're talking about here.
And yeah, I guess I take for granted that we're sitting here looking at monitors and they might not, see our hands and stuff. Lindy rigging, basically the concept is to drag a weight. So you're basically dragging a weight with a lead behind it. So your lead is going to be anywhere from 2 to 10 feet long. That's all personal preference. I typically, as a rule of thumb, run about my rod length as a lead or close to it, depending on the water clarity, the murk, the speed. So basically, you're just having your line, a weight. Usually, people are going to run a swivel so you don't get line twist, and then you're going to have a long lead of 2 to 8 feet, and then your hook. In front of that hook, you could have a float or a bead or a swivel, and essentially, it's just a way to do a very natural presentation. It's not intrusive. You basically just have a weight dragging along the bottom, which is going to stir things up, maybe get them a little curious. They come check it out, and all of a sudden, well, hey, look at this big leech. That looks like a big Mars bar floating by me. I mean, how do you say no to that? So
it's the best shock
it
bar
works
there is.
very well. Absolutely. Protein.
Yeah. And I guess that's the biggest thing is just trying to be as natural as you can, whereas maybe that isn't as needed later on in the year, at least I've found, but definitely that natural presentation is huge.
Yeah, for sure. And again, teach their own. Everyone has a different way of doing it. Some guys are going to run slow death hooks. Some guys are going to run spinners on, like the sky's the limit. Don't hesitate to play. Do what works for you. Don't worry about don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Experiment. Go to Pokies, go to a tackle shop, buy a handful of beads, some sequins, some spinners, some blades, play with it and see what works for you because everybody has different boat control. Everyone has a different hook set. So, I mean, you know what? It is a really fun thing for you to work on and dial in yourself. And I look at everybody's Lindy rig setups. Everybody's different. So it is definitely something you can tailor to your own fishing style.
Yeah.
What I kind of compare it to is more of it's a finesse way of bottom bouncing, basically, essentially. And maybe one thing to mention too is like when you are Lindy rigging, like you are having your bail open and you are feeling that line, right? And then as soon as that fish takes that bait, so like earlier when you were talking about feeding it, you're letting that fish just take the bait and eat it like a natural food, correct?
Correct. And yeah, I should have mentioned that. And so again, when we talked about feeding, you don't have to have your bail open. You could absolutely have your bail hook or your bail closed. And when you feel that bite, set your rod tip back to them and, give it a couple feet of slack, wait for that to load up, then set your hook. And that's probably what a good majority of the people actually do. I would say it would be a minority of people that actually fish with their bail open. but
Okay.
that is the tournament fisherman method.
Oh,
Gotcha.
okay. So I
But
guess
again,
yeah,
you want to be more careful about trying not to hook a fish deep.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I guess transitioning to the tournaments, I guess like we were talking about before we started recording, fishing is like it's been blowing up with the pandemic and everything. People are looking for more things to do, and obviously with you being heavily involved in tournaments and whatnot, we thought it'd be good to ask. We're getting into tournament season, and like I said, I'm sure there'll be a lot of brand new people participating, especially like Brandon and myself. We both entered into the Buffalo Pound tournament after not too long
Awesome.
actually after our episode with you. So
Good.
kind of like with your experience, what are some of the do's and don'ts for new tournament anglers from from launching to organizing for the fishing to kind of the fisherman etiquette, I guess?
Do's and don'ts. Don't hesitate to ask anyone a question. Don't hesitate to ask for help. You know what? It might seem intimidating. That boat launch is going to seem intimidating. Getting in a pack might seem intimidating, but you know what? We've all been there. And if somebody newer came up to me and had a question, I would love to answer. So, I mean, that would be my first thing. Don't hesitate to ask. Don't let people intimidate you. We're all there for fun at the end of the day. Um, as far as do's and don'ts, the main thing I'm going to say is just get out and do it. You know, don't wait for everything to be perfect. Don't wait for the stars to align. Just go out and do it. You know, maybe you don't have the biggest boat. Maybe you don't have the most experience. If tournament fishing interests you, get out there, check it out. Everything will fall into place. You know, you'll find somebody that'll be willing to help you out. Somebody took me under their shoulder. They helped me out greatly. I've had some great partners over the years. Been privy to fishing with some great fishermen. So I mean, yeah, just get out and do it. That would be my main thing.
Yeah,
Sweet.
absolutely. And that's kind of Logan and I's approach as well. We were just kind of like, oh, well, you don't want to enter, a tournament that's not, the high end, of course. Like obviously, you kind of want to ease yourself into it, learn to do by doing, and then, gradually grow. And we both thought the Buffalo Pound was a fairly good tournament. It's not super expensive to enter. It's not a massive body of water that would take years to go out and learn. I don't know. We both thought it was a good one, so we both entered it. We're not on the same team, so we'll see how that one. We'll see how that one goes. But
Oh, you guys are gonna learn real quick about that friendly rivalry. That's a great point though. And if I had to offer one more piece of advice, I'd say you guys did it perfect. Start small. Like there's no need to get in over your head. Start small. Go out and have fun. Like, Buffalo Pound, Boundary, Rafferty, some of these even Regina Beach, what's a couple $100 per partner? You're not out a whole bunch. Go out, have some fun, learn. Don't put a ton of pressure on yourself. A $2 or $4 or $500 entry tournament split two ways. You're not out a whole bunch if you don't make the money. So start small, enjoy it, have fun with it, and work your way up for sure.
yeah, I was talking to Mike Lance. So he came and picked something up. I was selling again on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. I was selling something on Facebook. So he came by and he picked it up, and that was the first time I met him. And we just kind of started talking. I started mentioning the podcast. He's like, "Oh yeah, like I know Tim and I know Layne. I fished Last Mountain, the Fall Classic. I live kind of in that direction." And we talked on my driveway for like an hour. And I mentioned to him, yeah, kind of want to get into the tournaments more, so just to learn a lot of stuff and that type of thing. And he was super excited about, I mentioned Logan and myself with the podcast, and obviously he mentioned he knows you as well. I'm not sure, is he part of the Saskatchewan Walleye
Yeah.
Trail Board? Yeah, so
Very nice guy. Yeah.
yeah, I thought he mentioned that, but I wasn't positive. But like you mentioned in our last episode, he was pretty vibrant to say, we need younger people getting involved and stuff too. So he added me on Facebook, and now we're Facebook friends, and I'm sure I'll see him kicking around too. One of the things that he touched on, I mean, I know he's won, he's placed in tournaments in the past, and one of the big things that he said to me, what he really enjoys is the social. He this last year with COVID, I mean, not being able to have like the supper and the big gatherings, he said out of everything, that was one of the things that he missed the most, is just after the tournament, sitting around and talking to other competitors that you don't see throughout the year, and you sit down, you have a beer, and you shoot the shit a little bit, and that kind of stuff. And I think that's kind of the approach that Logan and I really really like, is the relationship side of it. And yeah, we're just super excited to kind of get into it and meet a lot of people and learn a lot of things. And I mean, today's a good example. Just selling something on Facebook, met Mike, started talking fishing, and I'm sure that's going to be a relationship for a long time as well. So
Absolutely, and you know what? We all look forward to that. You guys don't even know what you're getting into. It's such a slippery slope. We love tournaments for exactly that reason. I look so forward to seeing all our friends every year. That's why I love the fall classic so much, because we all camp at Roan's. And I've been had the same group that comes and hangs out. We all hang out together every year, and they come from all over Alberta, Manitoba. Not right now, but even like the States and stuff. So yeah, to get everyone together one place, everyone's got it's endless. You could only imagine the stories at the campfire. It is. It's so fishing.
I could only imagine the fish stories.
I mean, I never lie, so you're not going to hear any lies around my campfire. But some of the other guys for sure.
Yeah.
That's good. That's too good.
Yeah, I think Brandon's also he's done it a good way as well, because he just forgot to mention that he's fishing with Tim Jenny in the Buffalo tournament there. So me and my two buddies were all three tournament versions. So we'll see how this one goes. We'll definitely have an update episode here for the tournament, but it'll be interesting.
Don't sweat it, man. I've some of the tournaments I've done best in, I went in thinking I was the most unprepared. And some of the ones I thought I was the most dialed with the most dialed partner got absolutely humbled. So it's anyone's to win. Go out there, give it your all. You never know. You're one fish away from having the best of your life. So just go out and do what you can do, man. It's just fishing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing, is that you're out there to have fun, right? Even being as competitive as some of us are, it's all about having fun.
Not having fun. It's not worth doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's when it's become a job.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question for you, Layne. It's opening day. You're heading out fishing. You have 3 hours on the water. You got one rod, one reel, and one lure. What are you taking?
Jigging Rap.
Well, which lake? Where are we fishing?
Well, let's just say Last Mountain, just because that's what you're familiar with.
That's your home. Yeah.
Yeah.
that is my home. 3 hours. So this is going to be me next Wednesday night. You're going to see this exact scenario. Oh boy.
Yep.
I'm probably going to tell my passenger to throw a jig on. I'm probably going to drop a Lindy rig. And I'm probably going to go work a point close to an area. Or I'm going to go work a structure close to a spawning area, because I feel like they're probably spawning right now. And they'll be on their way out, and they'll be looking to start to feed or thinking about feeding. So I'll be somewhere nearby. And just slowly covering ground till I mark fish. If we get on top of them, I'll probably throw a jig on too.
Fair enough.
Perfect.
That'll be me Wednesday night as well. Out to Buffalo.
And I'll be taking the old kayak out.
Oh boy.
I think we were talking about this before we started recording. I've been on this search for a boat for a while now. Went and looked at a few, and I mean, there's some out there. And I mean, I guess I'm a little picky. I mean, if you're going to be spending $20,000-$30,000 on a boat,
Absolutely.
I want something that's taken care of. I like nice things. So when you get there and you notice that there's a deep scratch in the paint, or a dent that wasn't mentioned, then I don't know. For me, if I'm spending the money, I want something taken care of. So
Absolutely. And you know what? It's funny you actually say that, because I'm actually looking because I got a waterfront place, and I'm actually looking for a kayak or a tinner or something just to have pulled out on shore, just in case I got 1 hour just to get out in front of the house. don't have to go deal with launching. I'm looking for a little something to get out and just go play with too myself, actually.
Yeah, well,
For sure.
myself and my brother-in-law took a couple of our kayaks that for their maiden voyage out on Wascana Lake. Noticed a couple dead carp there, so yeah. But
That's where you can go fishing.
yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to taking the kayak out. I mean, I've never fished off a kayak. I've fished off paddle boats and other, minimal, small
Vessels.
things, vessels. But I've never fished off a kayak. And I was talking to Brooke's brother. His name is Brandon as well. And we're looking forward to taking out these kayaks and doing some spring pike fishing. Like, I'm really
You're gonna
looking
go
forward
for a
to.
ride. Like
Yeah,
you are gonna
I
go
know.
for a ride. I'm telling you right
That's
now.
what I've been looking up pike videos on kayak on YouTube, and man, it looks like a hoot. So I mean, if I don't find a boat come, opening days in 9 days, that doesn't leave a whole lot of time. But definitely not going to force anything. I'm not going to drop a bunch of money on something that's not going to serve me well. So come opening day or that opening weekend, it might be pike on the kayak. We'll see.
No, that honestly sounds like a great time to me. And yeah, I I like to have fun too. So I kind of see in my head, maybe hooking up to a 30-inch walleye. I think that would be pretty cool on the old kayak. I'd like to do that once for sure.
Yeah, and even like, I know that you've been getting into a little bit more of the YouTube videos and that kind of stuff with Pokies and kind of a collaboration between your company Mountain Man and Pokies Tackle. And yeah, I don't know. I was kind of thinking that'd be kind of a cool video. Throw a GoPro on the front of the kayak and just go hook into some big fish on the yak.
Dragged around.
Have some fun,
Yeah.
man. Just go out, get out there and have some fun. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Well, we've kept you for pretty well an hour here, and you said before the interview or before doing the interview, you got to get back to work after this, so we should probably let you go. But thank you very
Yeah.
much again for coming on.
He's probably
No
gonna get in
problem.
trouble from his boss.
I am the boss.
Perks of
No,
being
yeah.
a business owner, eh?
Family business. I do actually work with my father sometimes, so we kind of have we run different ends of the business. But yeah, no, even I answer to someone sometimes if I feel like it. But
Yeah.
no, it's all good, man. Tonight we're just working on R&D, and I'm just working on my own junk anyway. So it was nice talking to you guys. Hopefully, see you guys out on the water. Love what you're doing with the podcast. Yeah, I think there's big things coming down the pipe for both of you.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. I'm sure I saw you out there, I think once or twice on Last Mountain last year, so I'm sure we'll run into you out there and have to say hello and see how the fishing's going. But yeah,
I'll
no,
be
You'll hear me.
I'll hear you coming.
he'll be the
Yeah.
one with AC/DC blasting.
Yeah, you'll hear the stereo for sure.
Yeah.
I'll have to be aware, looking for a Lumacraft or a Lund.
Wave. I'll come say hi. Never
Yeah,
hesitate to say hello.
Sweet.
Perfect. Okay, well, we appreciate you coming on for your second episode of the podcast, and yeah, 9 days and counting till opening day. We appreciate you sitting down with us, and best of luck with Mountain Man and your tournament season.
You as well, guys. Good luck in your first tournament there. I'm sure Tim will do you very well. I'm sure you'll do it well as well, or you'll do good as well, Logan. Don't
Thank you.
don't let that psych go at any.
Yeah.
Oh,
pulled one
I'm
few
already
things.
I'm already in his head.
The
Well, that's
mental
halfway.
game
It's
is not
just
strong.
mental warfare.
Yeah. It'll be
You know,
good.
Just whoever gets the first big fish, make sure to text the other guy and get in his head.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Pictures will be sent before they're even taken.
Yeah, no, take that ship. Get him hard.
But yeah, no, thanks. We appreciate it. And yeah, we'll definitely see you on the water.
Good luck, boys. Have a good season.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed that interview there with Layne. Definitely a ton of information that pertains really for any kind of walleye fishing, but especially here in Saskatchewan, it's nice getting that local knowledge. So lots of information. So if there was some things maybe that some of you were a bit confused about, you could shoot us a message and we can try and answer that, or we could ask Layne as well. But yeah, super thankful that Layne was willing to come on again, the first 2-time guest of the podcast. yeah, it was definitely a good time. Always fun chatting with him.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you guys are, in province, out of province, if you're looking for, a trip of a lifetime, if you're searching for a trophy walleye, definitely look up Mountain Man Outdoors, Layne Maier. Definitely him or one of the guys at Mountain Man will be able to hook you up with a trip, and hopefully can put you on a big walleye. You can find them online, obviously, at Mountain Man Outdoors or on Instagram, Facebook, that type of stuff. Of course, if you are in the market for some new gear, our friends over at 13 Fishing Canada have everything that you need, from rods, reels, lures, that type of stuff. You can use our code Weekend Warriors, that's WKND Warriors, and get 15% off your entire order. It's really top-notch gear, so definitely go check them out, 13fishing.ca.
So thank you for tuning in to another bite here with myself and Brandon. We got a pretty cool episode that we'll be recording in the coming week with another guest, and we look forward to you guys tuning into that one as well. Until then, take care out there, and good luck with the start of the season.
Thanks for tuning in to the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to leave a review on your favorite listening platform so we can reach more anglers just like you. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for media updates and behind-the-scenes content.